Hey guys, want to make a quick tutorial for the applique ornaments. The same process will be for all the shapes and all the sizes. It's just a technique tutorial. So for this example, we're going to be using the oval horizontal blank applique ornament. So you're going to need a couple things. You'll need your base vinyl. You'll need a background. I like to use felt. And then you'll need your applique piece, either fabric or vinyl, like a printed vinyl. You'll need your crocodile. You'll need a little eyelet. I like the 3/16 inch. And you'll need a piece of ribbon for your ornament. And of course your favorite little snippers. So you're gonna hook your stabilizer. I always use cutaway 3.5 ounce. I like the cutaway. So you're gonna run your vinyl placement stitch first. That's the first stitch, stitch 1, step 1. And then you are going to lay down your base vinyl. That's your ornament vinyl. And I'm just using masking tape, cheap masking tape from Amazon. Sometimes it doesn't stick real well to the cork. You're going to run your next step, which is the topper of the ornament. So that is step 2. I like to trim the little tails before I get into the stitching. So you're going to run that guy. Next, you're going to run the placement stitch 3 for the fabric. That'll show you where you're going to lay down your fabric. And I like it to overlap about 1 inch just to make sure it grabs it all. So you can use your template for this and kind of eyeball it. I just kind of move the fabric around, and then you can kind of feel the stitching underneath the fabric where it actually is. So I've just been doing it a while, so I can feel it and see where I need it. So get your fabric to be like a working size. Cut it down so you're not trying to finagle a giant piece of fabric. Just get that a little more trimmed up there. And I just kind of lay it down and I kind of peek under, make sure it's over the lines of a good amount, about 1 inch, half an inch to 1 inch. And like I said, you can feel the lines underneath, so I just kind of run my fingers across. And you can feel it where it's going to be at. So, and you tape down the fabric, and you're going to run the tack down stitch now. And when you're centering the design, you want to make sure you have enough room for the decorative satin stitch too. So you want to make sure your design's not going to get cut out on that. So next you're going to trim up your fabric to the stitch line. You're going to cut as close as you can without snipping into the edges. And you're going to want to turn the fabric. It's kind of hard to do on video here and do it so my hands aren't in the way, but you're going to be turning the fabric. Don't turn your scissors. Keep your scissors at the same orientation. Always turn your project that you're working on. So you're just going to, like I said, trim as close as you can. Don't trim your stitches, because then when you go to do the satin, it won't catch it all if you cut into your stitches. So be careful up by the little topper. So next you're going to put the hoop back in, and you're going to run stitch step number 5, and that's the fancy satin stitch. So I kind of sped that up so you don't have to sit here and wait too long for it to stitch. But run that nice satin, and it's fairly wide. I want to say it's a 4 or 4.5 millimeter. So it covers pretty good as long as you trim your stitches up. So then you're going to run step 6, which is your eyelet placement stitch. That just shows you where we're going to punch the hole for the eyelet. You're going to flip it over to the back and attach your backing piece. I like to use felt. I don't like to waste vinyl on the back. Nobody's really going to see it, and it works out just fine. So use your felt for the back, but I also trim up a little bit of the threads before I tape that down. So tape your felt down, and make sure you tape it pretty good so when the machine moves, it doesn't pull it off of there. Make sure you cover up all your stitching. And again, that's just cheap masking tape from Amazon. Flip it back over, put it back into your machine, and you're going to run your final stitch, stitch number 7, and that just attaches your back, and it's just a bean stitch. So if your stitching of your ornament's done, you're going to pop it out of the hoop. I like to trim it down to a manageable size before actually trimming the ornament. Take off all your tape. I'll just kind of do a rough cut around it to make it a little more manageable so you can turn your project piece a little bit better while you're trimming. So I like my little snippers. I like to go into a corner that's not noticeable where I start and I finish. And you're just going to work your way around. And again, you're going to be turning your piece, not the scissors. So keep your scissors oriented in the same way as much as possible and just rotate your piece that you're cutting. It makes a much nicer, clean cut. It's kind of hard to cut while I'm trying to film and look through the camera. Make sure it's not out of focus. Just take the time, trim around the edges. Turning as you go. I like these scissors. They're serrated and they're curved, and I have about 9 or 10 pairs of them, and I've lost my most recent ones, so these ones aren't cutting as good as I would like them to be cutting, but they work. But they're my favorite. They're from K. Karen Buckley. You can get them on Amazon. They're just the 4-inch serrated curved, but they have a little squishy handle so your hands don't get tired or sore. So just work your way around, and then you're going to take your crocodile, poke your hole. I have it set to the 3/16 inch side. Pop your hole out. And then always leave a little bit, so just clean it out with your scissors and kind of dig out the hole in the center. Pop your eyelet in. Then you're going to press your eyelet. Press it down. And then next you're going to take your ribbon. And I think this is 3/8 inch, just cheap ribbon from Hobby Lobby. Just smooth it out. And I like to go through the back side. And then you're going to loop the tails in through the hoop. A loop. And then just pull it taut. Straighten it out a little bit. And then you're going to make a knot. And you can make it whatever length you want. Tighten up your knot. And then you're going to trim the tails. And then, of course, you can put your bow that you've made in another tutorial. You just hot glue it on there and a bell. I usually put a bell. So that's it.